My name is Joep. I produce music and I play music under the name Yopo. Next to this, I'm also a graphic designer, and I just graduated art school here in Rotterdam at Willem de Koning. I'm 26 years old and I live here in Rotterdam West. And now I'm gonna talk a bit about my story, my musical journey. So it all started when I was young. I played the drums for like 7 years, from the lower school till the middle of the high school. And when I finished my high school, I quit drumming, and then I needed to look for a new musical thing in my life, actually. And that was DJing. I started DJing when I was beginning at my pre-art academy school. It was called St. Lucas. It was in the south of the Netherlands, and there I also went to a lot of parties. In Eindhoven. There were parties from the design academy, for instance, or you had like a skate park there, Area 51. There were also pretty nice parties that were pretty experimental. They played like really nice experimental music over there, and that is where I started to love also experimental music more. And after St. Lucas, after this school, this pre-art academy, I had an in-between year, and in that year I had time to get money actually for my DJ gear. And I wanted to play vinyl, so I needed to have a mixer and 2 turntables. But I didn't have the money, and I worked for my dad also, and I had this one job in one weekend, and I can earn enough money to buy this setup actually. So I bought it after that job, and I had this setup, but then I needed to have some records. So friends of me told me that I need to look for records in a shop called Antenne in Tilburg. And that was a really nice small shop. I went there, and it was a really small shop with, they had like vintage clothing, but also a part vinyl. And I had like one record in my mind I needed to have, because I watched a lot of Boiler Rooms then, back in the days. And I watched this one Boiler Room of Interstellar Funk, and he played this super nice track. It was his first track, I think. It's called Hadouken. It's from Haron. It's a Dutch producer. It was on Amsterdam Tape Records. And I asked this guy from that record store, do you have it? And he had it. So that was super nice, and I bought it immediately, of course, with some other records. Then I had those records, but I couldn't play, so I need to practice a lot with these records, but they were all over the place with beats per minute, so that was also a thing to learn for me. So I bought this one record. It's from Disco D, and they had written those beats per minute on them. So I could match it a bit with these other records I bought, and that's where I started learning to play vinyl actually. And after this I needed to have a certain style. I needed to have a certain style for myself. So I began with Chicago house, a bit with some jazz influences, and that was the first style I dived into. I learned a lot about labels in that style, for instance, and artists also. For instance, Larry Heard, some other great artists, also a bit of Detroit influences. So that was the first style I was going into actually. And after that, I also bought a lot of records all over the Netherlands, with at rush hour at Cologne here in Rotterdam, at other record stores as Bordello Aperigi, for instance, here in Amsterdam. So I looked also for other styles, and then other styles also came into my collection. For instance, more electro, more breakbeat, more techno also. So then I also had an influence of other styles with this Chicago jazzful house style. But that was not really enough for me. I needed to have a more specific style, and there's why I'm at now actually. Now I'm living here in Rotterdam, and there's a lot of crazy music going around now. And now I'm focusing more on this craziness, actually, also crazy sounds that are happening in the productions. And now I'm also focusing more on downtempo, like this downtempo entrancing, hypnotic almost tracks that are maybe specific for my style now. And I try to broaden it up also to more ambient songs, and try to tell a story with my sets now. And also next to this, I'm starting to produce some music, and that's more in the beginning phase now. I'm trying to create ambient tracks just for myself. They're also on my SoundCloud, so you can look them back. You can hear them. Next to the music, I'm also a graphic designer, and as a graphic designer I had my graduation project. Also with this project there was a lot of music involved. I did a project within the COVID period, and I asked people to upload sounds on a website. It's called The Presence of Sound. It's still online, so you can look it up. thepresenceofsound.nl. And there people can record sounds and upload them on this website. And when you open this website, you see a grid, and you can click in this grid and you hear these sounds, and you can combine the sounds to create your own soundscape. And with this I create a new soundscape, like a new story. I want to tell the story of the story of COVID-19 with multiple people together, like a collective idea, a collective memory. That's what I do. What was my recent project, and also I'm creating this free work for myself. It's more illustrations. It's called Wildflower, and that's like more abstract work. It's more freely, and I do it in my spare time. I create this flowers, this abstract flowers art, you could say. So my goals for the future are, I think, to produce even more, to produce also not only ambient tracks, but also produce like tracks with a beat, and maybe for like further in the future, I want to organize parties here in Rotterdam, like a club evening. And also, like, my biggest dream is to have my own record label. That will be so awesome, to also curate the artworks of it and curate the artists and be like the head of a label. That would be super nice. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. And You can listen to my sets at SoundCloud. You can look it up, Yopo, Rotterdam. And listen to my sets of Operator, also for the Everyday is Friday blog. So thank you.